fellow Toastmasters. So the title of my talk is The Power of Positivity, and I wanted to begin my speech by first asking you guys a question. Is this water gallon half empty or half full?
3/4 full.
Okay. Any other answers?
It's half water, half air.
Half water, half air. Okay, that's a good answer. That's neutral. So, according to researchers, people's answer to a question like, is the glass half empty or half full, can actually tell you a lot about a person, as well as their ability to accomplish their goals. The focus of my talk tonight is the power of positivity, and positivity is under an umbrella that is called positive psychology. So what is positive psychology? What is the whole concept behind that? Well, positive psychology is a theory that was started by an author / researcher named Martin Seligman. So Martin Seligman studied theories such as resilience, optimism, and positivity. And the focus of his research was on whether positivity and thinking positively has an impact on a person's life in the long run. So Martin Seligman focused on two concepts, which I'm sure that you guys have heard of before, and it's this idea of people having a fixed versus a growth mindset. So what is fixed versus growth mindsets? I'm sure some of you guys, I see some of you guys shaking your heads, so I'm sure you guys know what these are, but just to give you guys an idea, a fixed mindset is the belief that a person's intelligence, character, or creativity are inherent. So this is the idea that the skills and abilities that you have are things that cannot be changed. So it's something that you're born with, whether it's your intelligence or your personality. And a growth mindset, on the other hand, is the belief that failure is not due to unintelligence, but circumstances and skills that can be learned or developed. So based on Martin Seligman's research, individuals that adopt a growth mindset are more likely to see success in their lives, whereas individuals that have a fixed mindset, their thought process is more negative. And you can change. You can be somebody who had a fixed mindset and switches to a growth mindset, and I'm going to talk about that later on in my speech. So I know that you guys might be thinking positive psychology and positive thinking is kind of like a foo-foo concept, and a concept that you might not agree with or you might not necessarily think is true. So I wanted to talk with you guys a little bit about some of the research. So in one research study, researchers in Johns Hopkins found that individuals who had a history of health issues, so for example, if your grandmother or your great-grandmother had a history of cancer, just simply thinking positively actually made them 13% less likely to suffer from a heart attack, which I found to be really interesting. In another study, a 2008 study conducted by Dutch sociologist Van Hooven found that individuals who had higher life satisfaction levels, so they had a Likert scale where they used to measure how satisfied people were with their lives, and they found that people that were more satisfied with their lives, rated their lives as happier, and were more positive, were actually less likely to get sick and less likely to go to the doctor, which I found to also be very interesting. And in another study, a researcher looked at 70,000 women over the course of 2 years, and what they found was that women who were more optimistic, so women that scored higher on the optimism scale, were actually 16% less likely to die from cancer, had a 38% lower risk of dying from heart disease, and had a 52% lower risk of dying from infections. So positive psychology and positive thinking isn't something that's made up. There's a lot of research on the power of positive thinking. A great example of that is this book, The Secret, which I'm sure all of you guys have heard of, and if you have not heard of it, there's a great documentary that is made from it has the authors and different speakers on Netflix, and it really focuses on the power of positive thinking and how our minds are what really help us to manifest anything that we want in our lives. So aside from the statistics, in another book that focuses on positive thinking and positive affirmations is this book, which I really enjoyed reading. It's kind of a long read, but it's a really good book on a similar topic of the power of our subconscious mind. So in this book, the author talked about and interviewed different doctors. And what he found was that in a lot of different instances, doctors would prescribe patients with placebos or a fake treatment. And in so many of these different instances, the patients would come back to the doctor and they would be healed from whatever it was that they were suffering from. So whatever their sickness was, the doctor would write up a fake prescription and the individuals would be healed. So this is what researchers deem as the placebo effect. And it's just a beneficial health outcome resulting from a person's anticipation that an intervention will help them. So the placebo effect, the doctors have seen the placebo effect. I'm sure you guys have seen the placebo effect in your everyday life. And it's really interesting because just simply changing, the focus of a lot of these books is that just simply changing your thought process can have a really drastic effect and impact on your life and on your day. If you wake up tomorrow morning and you tell yourself that it will be an amazing day, you will see how different your day will be than if you wake up the following day and tell yourself it will be a horrible day and start focusing on all of the negative things that happen to you. From my own personal experience, I could tell two really quick stories of using positive affirmations to manifest the life that I wanted. The first was when I lived in Louisiana. I told myself I wanted to live in New York, and I told my mom, I want to be in New York. I hate Louisiana, and I lived in a really small town in Louisiana. And what I did every single day for about 4 months was I had a notebook where I wrote in the notebook, I will be in New York. So every single day for 4 months I wrote, I will be in New York, I will be in New York, in this notebook. And what happened was I was applying to different PhD programs at the time, and the school that I really wanted to get into was in New York. And I found out that I did get in, and I attribute that to all of the other schools that I applied to, I did not get into. The one school that I got into was in New York, exactly where I wanted to be. Another situation where I used the power of positive thinking was in finishing up my PhD program, because I was experiencing a lot of issues when it came to finishing up. And every single day for about a year, in that same notebook, I wrote that I was going to finish my PhD program. And despite all of the challenges that I faced, I eventually ended up finishing. And I attribute those two situations in my life and other situations to just focusing and thinking positively. So if you guys are sitting here and listening to this and thinking, how can I implement this into my own life? And how can I think more positively if maybe you're a little bit more pessimistic? There are 4 things that you can do to become a more positive or optimistic person. The first is to smile more. And what smiling more does, even if you're in a bad mood, is that it tricks your brain into thinking that you are in a good mood. So eventually you do become happier. You guys should all try it now. So if you're having a bad day, just try to remember to smile more. The second thing you can do is practicing gratitude. Some researchers suggest that you could start a gratitude journal where you write down every single thing that you're thankful for in your life. And I've tried to do this here and there. And what I find is that it really helps to realign my focus, especially when I'm having a bad day and I'm sort of ruminating over the negative things that are happening. The third thing you can do is practice telling yourself positive affirmations. And that could be something as simple as putting Post-it notes on your mirror of things that you're proud of yourself for, or things that you want to manifest into your life. And the fourth thing that you can do is to surround yourself with more positive people, because birds of a feather flock together. And if you have a friend or two that's more negative, maybe is making fun of your glasses or something, it can really bring you down. So before I end my speech, I just wanted to leave you guys with a quote that is from this book, Ask and It Is Given, which is also a great book. And the quote says, By the powerful universal law of attraction, you draw to you the essence of whatever you're predominantly thinking about. So if you're predominantly thinking about the things that you desire, your life experiences reflect these things. And in the same way, if you're predominantly thinking about what you do not want, your life experiences will also reflect these things. Thank you.